Hey everybody, welcome to Combat Japan. I'm your host Andres Vergara. Today we're going to be talking about some news and notes surrounding the world of combat sports in Japan. We're going to talk a little bit of RIZIN. I'm going to give you some Sumo updates, and then we'll touch base quickly on the upcoming K-1 World Max event, which will happen September 12th. Alright, so let's get started with RIZIN, particularly the Patchy Mix versus Shoko Sato bout, which was the co-main event for RIZIN 54. If you want to hear about it, watch my last video. I broke down the entire card and the results there. But the reason I'm talking about it here is because of all the aftermath regarding how it was recorded by the popular MMA aggregator Tapology. So let's just share the screen here. One moment. All right, so I got Tapology pulled up here. For all of us that watch RIZIN 54, this should look a bit odd. This shows Patchy Mix winning his bout against Shoko Sato. And as all of you know, Patchy Mix actually ended up missing weight for this bout. He missed weight by about 6.3 pounds. And the way that RIZIN handles weight misses is actually pretty different than it is stateside. The person who misses weight is heavily penalized. So for one, you can't win the fight. So if your opponent takes a fight, the best you can hope for is a no contest or a loss, basically. So those are your only options. If you miss weight, you cannot get a win from a weight miss. On top of that, you're coming into the fight at 2 points down, meaning if it goes to the scorecards, you already have a 2-point penalty. And this is pretty well established in the RIZIN rules, and fighters know about this rule. And then for the person that comes in on weight and accepts a fight, if they get a win, it's a win. And if they get a loss, then it's a no contest. So it's not a loss against them who made weight. So coming into this fight, Patchy Mix missed by a pretty crazy amount, 6.3 pounds. I mean, that's almost a whole weight class of a miss. I mean, that's closer to 10 pounds. And Shoko Sato chose to still go on with the fight as the co-main event. And I think even Patchy Mix thanked him for taking the fight and apologized for missing weight. But that means that Patchy came into this with a 2-point penalty. Right. So what ended up happening in the scorecards is that I believe the judges gave Patchy round 1 and round 3, and Shoko Sato ended up winning round 2. So normally that would be a 29-28 score in favor of Patchy Mix. But with the 2-point penalty, Shoko Sato's 28 points stay the same, and Patchy Mix gets docked from 29 down to 27. So the actual result, which was called on the broadcast and in the ring, was Shoko Sato winning by 28-27. And you can see here that although they declare Patchy Mix as the winner here in Tapology, and they even give him an extra win and adjust his record, there is a note here. It says overturned by RIZIN. Reason: Mix point deduction for missing weight. Overturn Mix to loss. The original result remains on Tapology record. So why does this matter at all? Well, one, it's Tapology is kind of like the main aggregator and database for people to do any research or find out more about fighters. And what this is essentially doing is giving Patchy Mix an extra win on his record. It's basically breaking his losing streak, right? Because I think he lost the last 3 fights or so. It's also downgrading Shoko Sato's record, and with the caveat of oh, this was overturned by the promotion. And I know, Tapology can manage their own website however they please, but it's kind of lame because that's not what happened, right? So now you have a padded up record, and Shoko Sato has been kind of penalized. And let's look at Tapology's response to this. They did get a lot of criticism on X, and they say, regarding a result for Patchy Mix versus Shoko Sato, for several years, Tapology's policy has been not to alter a fight result based on point deductions or penalties imposed for actions outside of the fight itself. We record the results produced by the judges' scorecards. This policy developed after situations where post-fight administrative penalties could produce outcomes that we felt were inconsistent, arbitrary, or potentially open to manipulation. To provide the full picture, we build our system to display both the result of the fight itself and any subsequent result imposed by the promotion. We recognize that no policy handles every situation perfectly. Even before today's RIZIN event, we had been discussing whether certain circumstances should warrant exceptions to these rules. Today's unusual situation will certainly be part of those discussions. For now, we will continue to display Mix Sato according to our existing policy. We're clearly noting RIZIN's official ruling. So I totally get the spirit behind this policy, right? They're if you have a shady promoter and they're, it's somebody's nephew or whatever, and you're just, implementing some BS rule to overturn what the officials had on the scorecards, Tapology has this policy in place to kind of, be immune to basically shady promotion manipulation, right? But this isn't that, right? Like RIZIN has a history of doing this. The fighters knew about it beforehand. And honestly, I don't think the fighters feel good about this at all. Do you think Patchy Mix is out there celebrating his last win and saying he won his last fight? I mean, he knew the rules coming in. And Shoko Sato basically had a hard-earned win against somebody that missed weight by a ton, and it's just being penalized because of this kind of rule set that or policy that Tapology has in place. And in my opinion, it's a real easy fix, dude. It's just make an exception for RIZIN. I don't think that the spirit of the weight miss rule is to be shady or to manipulate decisions after the fact. It's really to disincentivize weight misses and to really penalize the person coming over. And this promotion, which is a well-established promotion, has a history of doing this. They are not, some no-name promoter with 2 events. It's RIZIN, it's Sakakibara. It's Japan's premier MMA promotion. So why not just have an exception? I don't know. But they got a lot of flack for this. I know a lot of the JMMA community was really pissed off about it. And on top of that, some bigger names here. If you scroll down here, like Ben Davis, he's pretty mainstream here in the West. Makes no sense, not gonna lie. Let's see what Tapology said. One of the pillars of our current policy is that major U.S. commissions would never accept scoring that worked this way for an MMA or boxing match they regulated. If the fight happens, the judges' scores are honored. Manipulating or changing the judges' score based on other rules is unheard of. Promoters do not get to make their own scoring criteria. But this policy is under a lot of stress with these kinds of high-profile situations with leagues like RIZIN. Right. I mean, they're kind of saying what I was saying earlier, right? It's they don't want unfair manipulation. They want the judges' scorecards to basically rule what actually happens because the sporting commission is not part of the promotion. So they're basically saying like, hey, we don't want the promotion to make these calls, but this is RIZIN. And they're saying, hey, this wouldn't fly in the US. Okay, but they're in Japan. So, and it's still professional fighting. It's still MMA. I mean, they even have a whole different rule set anyway, right? I mean, they allow grounded kicks and soccer kicks to the head. So I don't know. I think this is a pretty public L for Tapology, which could be easily fixed. I don't know. Let me know what you think about it. It's kind of, I mean, ultimately, like they are noting what actually happened, right? But the fighters' records don't reflect that, and it shows that Patchy has that extra win and that Sato has that extra loss, and I think that's a little unfair. And also, just like a personal anecdote with Tapology, like I had a friend who fought, and Tapology had the incorrect result for like a week or so, and my friend had to email them over and over again, like, "Hey, what the hell? I won this fight," until they were able to correct it. And this is a small-time New England MMA, but my friend had to basically just bug them over and over again, and they were able to, change it. So I don't see why they can't change this as well. But anyway, it's just kind of crazy. All right, so moving on to some further RIZIN 54 fallout. So we had our main event, which was Kyoma Akimoto versus Kleber Koike. Kyoma Akimoto winning a very dominant decision win against Kleber Koike. After that, he called out the winner of AJ McKee versus Rajabali Shadolaya, which will take place in Super RIZIN 5. And that'll be, September, I believe. Yeah, so that's coming up, and it's going to be a hell of a card. And as you may remember, the winner of that fight will be simultaneously the PFL and the RIZIN featherweight champion. So that'll be an interesting development as well. But one thing that came out of this fight that I didn't talk about in my last video was that Kyoma Akimoto apparently injured his wrist. Yeah, it's either the hand or wrist. And I'm not sure if it's broken or if it's some sort of sprain, but given the tight turnaround of these Japanese fighters, I'm a little worried that he might not be healed up in time to fight for New Year's Eve. I mean, it is August, so I guess, he's probably going to be fine. If you watch RIZIN, you'll see that these guys are fighting pretty often. In the UFC, you have like crazy layoffs, like, 9 months off, 16 months off. But I feel like in RIZIN, they turn it around pretty quick, and you see the same cast of characters over and over again, which is cool because you get to see each fighter. But we shall see what that means for Kyoma Akimoto and his chances at the featherweight strap against the victor of Rajabali Shadolaya versus AJ McKee. All right, so that is all I had for RIZIN. Moving on to Sumo real quick. So the summer tour has begun post the Nagoya Basho, and this is when they go into all the different prefectures and they have matches and they do like ceremonial stuff. and you can buy tickets to the tour, which is not a tournament, but it's something that they do in between tournaments. And it's always really telling like who's participating and who's not. So let's just kind of get started at the top of the Matsuke here. I'm going to talk about our Yokozuna Hoshoryu. So if you may recall, in Nagoya tournament, Hoshoryu had to pull out because he had a knee injury. I believe it was an MCL tear. And let's see here. We have an article and it says that he needs to recover for approximately 6 weeks. So he's not participating in the summer tour. All right, it says that he got his medical certificate saying that he had an MCL injury as well as a right hamstring tear. So he's going to be out for a little bit. And yeah, it looks like he pulled out on day 13 of the Nagoya tournament. So interesting to see what will happen with Hoshoryu. There he is losing to Atami Fuji. Our other Yokozuna, Onosato, ends up withdrawing from the tour as well. So he actually participated in the tour in days 1 and 2, and then he had to pull out to receive further treatment for his injuries. If you don't know, Onosato has been dealing with some really severe shoulder pain, so it's kind of taken away a lot of his game. He's basically been sumo wrestling with one arm, and he still managed to do really well, and considering that he's actually injured in this last Nagoya tournament. Onosato, before injury, was just extremely dominant. He was just running through everybody, but I think he got double-digit wins. No, actually, he did not. He went 9-6, which I remember now because it was a big deal because Yokozuna almost always get 10 or more wins. But, you know, scrounging up 9 wins with having half your body to work with, or half your upper body rather, is still impressive. So I'm glad that he's not competing in the summer tour and getting that treatment that he needs. And we will see him in the Aki Basho, the fall Basho in September, hopefully. And hopefully he's ready to be back. All right, this next one is an article just talking about Aonishiki. So Aonishiki, he just won the Nagoya tournament, and he did do it with an injury. So he had missed the previous tournament to Nagoya, and the one before that he had to pull out, I believe. But let's see here. Yeah, it looks like he injured his left big toe, which was really bothering him in the tournament, I think, in the last 3 days. But he just taped it up and just kind of toughed it out and ended up winning the whole thing. But he is participating in the summer tour, but he's actually not competing. I think he's doing a lot of the ceremonial stuff, but he's actually trying to recover and treat his injury as well, which is much needed. He just won his 3rd tournament, so he might be making his Yokozuna run now that he's back to Ozeki. So very exciting for Aonishiki. All right, so moving on to Wakatakakage. He is our former Sekiwake who had just won the summer tournament prior to Nagoya, and he ended up having to pull out after being diagnosed with a severe case of compartment syndrome on his thigh, and he had just severe pain and partial paralysis on his leg. And because of that, he had to undergo, I believe, 4 surgeries on his leg. He has since been released from the hospital and he is recovering. And he's starting the rehab process right now. This just really sucks to see because the recovery for this will take a very long time. And this happened to be Wakatakakage's 2nd run at trying to be Ozeki. So in order to get promoted to Ozeki, you got to get 33 wins across 3 tournaments, and you have to be at a Sekiwake rank. And he got so close to getting up to Ozeki, I believe, a year or so ago. And then this time he made it all the way back up to Sekiwake, won the tournament, and basically starting to eye that spot again, and then has to go through this. And it sucks because like the recovery for this will take a very long time. He already missed the Nagoya tournament entirely, and in sumo, if you miss a tournament, it counts as losses, so in terms of rank. So he's very likely to miss the next tournament as well, Akibasho. God knows, he might even miss the Kyushu tournament in November. And if that's the case, then he's certainly not going to be in Division 1 any longer, and he would be demoted to at least Division 2 Juryo. So he goes from, you know, almost making Ozeki to getting demoted and then working his way back up, right back up to Sekiwake. Ozeki wins the tournament, and now when he comes back, he'll probably be in Division 2 Sumo, and coming off of 4 major surgeries on his thigh, while also trying to get back up to Division 1. So tough hand he's been dealt with here, but I think that he is the kind of person that will probably find a way to overcome. Wakatakakage is very serious. He's very diligent. He doesn't have a very big personality or anything. He's just work, like your prototypical Japanese person, I guess. But he is just loves sumo, and loves training, and he's just going to put his head down and come back. Wishing him the absolute best. He's a joy to watch. All right, so moving on from Sumo, we'll wrap up here talking about the K-1 World Max. So that is the famous K-1 70 kilogram tournament that is taking place here on September 12th, 2026 in Tokyo in the Yoyogi Stadium, second gymnasium. Dude, this is going to be fun. So this is one of the bigger events that they do throughout the year. I just wanted to quickly look over some of the matchups. I think in my last roundup episode, I talked about some of the bigger matches, but now we have the spots filled in the first round of the tournament. So we have the round of 16, which will face off against each other. And then by the end of the year, we'll actually know who wins the entire tournament. But I just wanted to look over some of these matchups here. So we have Jonas Sasicha, who won the 70 kg tournament, the World Max last year, versus Zora Akopian, coming into this at 34 wins and 6 losses. Sasicha is 28-4. Sasicha is awesome to watch. He had a really fun tournament last year. And then his last fight was against Daryl Verdonk, who almost beat him, dude. I think if it would have gone an extra round, Verdonk might have beat him. But yeah, real fun scrap here. Speaking of Daryl Verdonk here, we have Verdonk versus Divara here, who just won his spot in the 70 kg in K1 Dontaku, I believe. Divara comes into this at 40-16, and then we have Verdonk at 18-9. It's going to be the thing I love about K1 is that almost every fighter is an action fighter. They just go into scrap. It's kind of rare to find like a really boring fighter. Fun stuff here. Kasper Majinski, dude, he's a bit of a phenom. He's 28-3, and he's going against Sergey Adamchuk. I don't know much about him, but he's 46-18, so that should be a nice scrap as well. So you have Stoyan versus Tulaev here. Stoyan, he's won the 70 kg tournament before. He's 28-10, complete action fighter, total badass, and then he's going against Tulaev here at 15-3. That'll be fun. Okay, we have one of the Kamara brothers. We have Al against Jones Kolisu. I'm not familiar with Jones here, but he's, let's see, 15-5, and then the Kamara is 35-6. He's at this point K1 staple as well. Let's see, we'll round this out with Ayulu versus Morris. Let's see, we got Ayulu coming at 37-9, Morris 9-5, so a little bit untested here, but much younger, 26 versus 32. All right, then we have Pankhurst versus Senchai. Senchai coming into this at 12-4, and Pankhurst at 17-1, coming out of Australia, and against the tie here. And then lastly, we have Lauren Pagno versus Matsumoto. Matsumoto coming into this at 7-6, so probably one of the least tested fighters here in the 70 kg tournament. And Panya, the exact opposite, at 103 wins and 19 losses. Can you imagine having 127 fights? That's just freaking crazy. But yeah, that is the opening round of 16 for the K1 World Max taking place September 12th. It's going to be really exciting. I'm going to do a preview video for this event, like a proper preview with picks and all that. On top of that, we're getting like 4 title matches as well. And then I think we're getting the K1 staple, Mona Kimura, there she is, against Marine Nicole. I don't know very much about her at all, but she's 25-6, so that's good. Because one of the biggest critiques of Mona is that she hasn't been facing really anybody worth writing home about, and she's 4-0, so hopefully this is a nicer test. Yeah, and also the age difference is not too bad. I've seen Kimura beat up on some older ladies, and it just feels a little abusive. But yeah, exciting stuff, man. But let's switch back here. All right, so that is a quick news and roundup episode of what's going on around the Japanese combat scene. I think next week I'll probably have a preview of the RIZIN event that's coming up, if I get to it. I might not do the entire card. To be completely honest, I don't follow RIZIN super closely like I do RIZIN or even K1. But I'll for sure at least do the main card, and we'll preview that. But other than that, yeah, just going to continue to cover everything as things come up and keep you guys up to date. All right. Thank you to everybody that watched, and thank you for all your suggestions. I'm going to start doing timestamps from now on because I can yap for a long time, and it's just easier for you guys if you can click which part you want to see. So that is it. Catch you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.